Picture this. The first light of dawn creeps over the horizon, spilling golden hues across a neglected garden. Weeds choke the earth, and barren patches mock what could have been. Yet, in this quiet hour, there's a whisper of possibility, a chance to kneel in the dirt, to plant a seed, to transform. You stand at the edge of this garden every morning, don't you? Your mind, like this soil, holds untapped potential, waiting for your hands to shape it. But too often, you turn away, lost in yesterday's shadows or the endless noise of distraction. What if I told you that this moment, this very morning, could be the reset you've been craving? Welcome to the journey of rewiring your brain, starting with the sacred power of dawn. In this section, Awakening the Dormant Mind, we'll unearth the truth. The morning is your forge, your canvas, your garden. It's where you can break free from the cycles that bind you and cultivate a mind that blooms with purpose. So, take a breath. Step into this new day with me. Let's dig deep and awaken what's been dormant far too long. Imagine waking up, your eyes barely open, and already a weight presses down on your chest. Yesterday's failures parade through your mind like uninvited guests. The missed deadline, the argument that stung, the dream you didn't chase. You lie there, tangled in sheets and regret, feeling like you're stuck in an endless loop of negativity. This was Sarah's reality. A single mother of two, she juggled a demanding job and a home that never seemed to rest. Each morning, as the alarm blared, her first thought wasn't of possibility but of burden. "I can't keep up," she'd mutter, her mind replaying every misstep from the day before. She'd drag herself out of bed, already defeated, her spirit as barren as a garden left to wither under the sun. But one morning, something shifted. Exhausted by her own despair, Sarah paused. She looked out her window at the faint glow of dawn and thought of her grandmother, who once tended a small plot of land with unwavering care. "A garden doesn't bloom overnight," her grandmother used to say. "You water it daily, even when you see no growth." Inspired, Sarah decided to treat her mind like that garden. Instead of drowning in yesterday's failures, she took 5 minutes to breathe deeply, to write down one thing she could control today, a small task, a kind word to her kids. That tiny act of care, repeated each morning, became her hoe, breaking up the hard soil of her thoughts. Over weeks, the weight lifted. Her mind, once choked by weeds of regret, began to sprout resilience. She wasn't perfect, but she was growing. The lesson here is clear. Your morning is your chance to reset. Like a gardener facing barren earth, you must show up, even when the soil seems unyielding. Yesterday's failures don't define today unless you let them. Plant a seed of intention each dawn and watch how your mental landscape transforms. Now picture this. You roll over in bed, the world still cloaked in early light, and your hand instinctively reaches for your phone. Before your feet even touch the ground, you're scrolling. Endless feeds of perfect lives, urgent notifications, mindless memes. The minutes slip away, and with them, your focus. This was Jake's morning ritual. A young entrepreneur with big ideas. He dreamed of building something meaningful, yet every day started with distraction. His thumb flicked through apps as if on autopilot, drowning his ambition in a sea of noise. By the time he set the phone down, his mind was fragmented, a garden overrun by invasive vines before he'd even had a chance to tend it. "I'll start later," he'd think, but later never came. One morning, frustrated by his lack of progress, Jake stumbled upon a realization. He remembered hiking with his father as a child, watching the sunrise from a quiet ridge. There, in the stillness, his mind felt clear, like freshly tilled soil ready for planting. What if he could reclaim that clarity? He decided to stop scrolling and start cultivating. He placed his phone out of reach and spent the first 10 minutes of his day sitting in silence, mapping out one goal for the hours ahead. It felt awkward at first, like a gardener unsure of his tools. But slowly, his focus took root. Ideas bloomed where chaos once reigned. His mornings became sacred, a time to nurture his vision rather than squander it. What can you take from Jake's story? Your morning is a garden, and every distraction is a weed stealing nutrients from your dreams. You have the power to choose what grows. Step away from the noise, tend to your mind at dawn, and you'll harvest clarity and purpose by day's end. Let's pause and consider the magic of morning. Why does this fleeting hour hold such transformative potential? Think of dawn as the world's quiet confession, a moment when the earth itself resets, shaking off the night's stillness to embrace new light. Your mind, too, craves this renewal. It's not just another segment of time, it's a threshold, a doorway between what was and what can be. How often have you stumbled through that doorway, dragging the baggage of yesterday or losing yourself to trivial distractions? How many fresh starts have you squandered before the sun even climbs high? See your mind as a garden at dawn. The soil may be scarred from past storms, failures, doubts, regrets, but it's still fertile. Each morning, you're handed a trowel, a chance to dig into that earth and plant something new. It doesn't matter if the ground feels hard or if growth seems impossible. The act of showing up, of tending to your thoughts with intention, is what rewires your brain. You're not just waking up, you're awakening, you're telling your inner wiring, I choose growth over stagnation, I choose possibility over despair. This isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. A gardener doesn't expect a seed to sprout overnight, but they water it anyway. So must you. Nurture your mind each morning, and over time, you'll witness a harvest of strength and clarity you never thought possible. Dive deeper with me. Imagine standing barefoot in that garden of your mind, feeling the cool, uneven soil beneath you. Some patches are rich and ready, others are dry, cracked from neglect. This is the landscape of your thoughts, shaped by years of habits, choices, and unseen forces. But here's the truth. No matter how barren it seems, the soil can be revived. Morning is your opportunity to turn it over, to loosen the grip of old patterns and plant seeds of intention. Have you ever considered how much power lies in those first waking moments? Have you realized that your brain, still soft from sleep, is most malleable then, ready to be wired anew? Think of your mental habits as roots. Some nourish, others strangle. The mindless scroll, the spiral of self-doubt, the weight of yesterday, they're deep, tangled roots draining your vitality. But a garden isn't defined by its weeds. It's defined by the gardener's resolve. Each morning, you can uproot what no longer serves you. You can choose to plant courage where fear once grew, focus where distraction reigned. This isn't a one-time act, but a daily ritual, like a river carving stone over centuries. Slow, steady, relentless. Your brain rewires not through grand gestures, but through small, consistent efforts at dawn. So now stand firm in your garden. Feel the soil. Decide today what you'll grow, for every morning shapes the mind you carry into tomorrow. Now, let's get to the dirt of it. How do you harness the morning to rewire your brain? It starts with a simple, deliberate act. When you wake, resist the urge to dive into the chaos of the world. Don't check your phone. Don't replay yesterday's missteps. Instead, take 5 minutes. Yes, just 5. To set an intention. Sit up, breathe deeply, and ask yourself, what is one thing I want to grow in my mind today? Maybe it's patience, focus, or gratitude. Write it down if you can. This isn't a to-do list. It's a seed you're planting in your mental garden. Next, pair that intention with a small action. If it's focus, commit to working on one task for 10 minutes without distraction. If it's gratitude, name 3 things you're thankful for before leaving your bed. This act of pairing thought with deed is like watering the soil. It gives your intention life. Do this every morning, even when you feel uninspired. Some days the ground will feel unyielding, but keep tending it. Over time, these small rituals will rewire your brain, turning fleeting thoughts into enduring strengths. You're not just starting your day, you're shaping your destiny, one dawn at a time. Here's another tool to transform your mornings. Guard your space fiercely. Your first hour awake is sacred ground, the freshest soil in your mental garden. Don't let distractions invade it. If your phone is the first thing you touch, place it across the room the night before. If negative thoughts swarm, have a notebook ready to jot down one positive focus for the day. Create a barrier between you and the noise, whether it's social media, nagging worries, or the rush to get going. You wouldn't let a stranger trample your garden. Don't let mindless habits trample your mind. Use this protected time to build a ritual that nourishes you. It could be a quiet walk, a few minutes of stretching while reflecting on your goals, or simply sipping water while staring at the sunrise. The act itself matters less than the consistency. Do it daily and let it anchor you. When doubt creeps in, and it will, remind yourself, this is my garden. I choose what grows here. By defending your morning, you're not just rewiring your brain. You're claiming ownership of your potential. Start small, but start now. Your mind is waiting to bloom. As we close this chapter on awakening the dormant mind, let's gather the seeds we've sown. You've seen how the morning holds unparalleled power, a reset for your mental wiring, a chance to break free from yesterday's shadows and the distractions that steal your focus. Through Sarah's story, you learned that even the heaviest regrets can be uprooted with daily care. Through Jake's journey, you discovered that clarity blooms when you guard your dawn from digital noise. We've walked through the garden of your mind, turning over barren soil with intention, understanding that each morning is a new beginning to rewire your brain for strength and purpose. The key takeaway is this: your morning is the foundation of transformation. Treat it as sacred, and you'll cultivate a mind that thrives. As we move forward, prepare to delve deeper into specific practices that can amplify this reset, tools to plant even stronger seeds in your daily dawn. But for now, stand at the edge of your garden. Feel the cool earth of possibility beneath you. Commit to showing up, day after day, with a trowel in hand. You are the gardener of your mind, and every morning is your chance to create life where there was none. Tend your dawn. Your mind will bloom beyond imagining. Picture a river, relentless and unyielding, carving its way through ancient stone. Day after day, it flows, smoothing jagged edges into polished beauty. That river is you, or it can be. Every morning, as the sun pierces the horizon, you stand at the edge of your own transformation. But too often, you're shackled by invisible chains, old mental patterns that drag you back into the shadows of doubt and fear. These are the rough stones in your mind, the habits that grind against your progress. Breaking the chains of habit is your mission now, a vital step in rewiring your brain through the power of your morning choices. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are the river. Will you flow with purpose, or will you stagnate in the same worn-out grooves? Let's shatter those chains together and let your consistent actions shape a new destiny. Imagine this. You're a professional, mid-30s, sitting at the edge of your bed each morning with a weight on your chest. The alarm blares, and before your feet even touch the ground, your mind is already replaying yesterday's failures. That missed deadline, the client who walked away, the meeting where your voice trembled. You're not planning your day. You're reliving a loop of self-doubt, a mental script that's been running for years. Coffee in hand, you stare out the window, whispering to yourself, "I'm not good enough." The day hasn't started, yet you've already lost. This was Sarah's story, a marketing strategist with a sharp mind. She had climbed the ranks, but her mornings were a battlefield. Every dawn, she'd wake to a chorus of past mistakes, each one a brick in a wall of insecurity. She'd scroll through emails, dreading feedback, her heart racing before she even read a word. Her potential was a distant star, obscured by the fog of her own thoughts. But one morning, something shifted. She stumbled upon a simple truth. Her mind wasn't her enemy. It was a stone in a river, waiting to be smoothed. She decided to act, instead of replaying failures. She wrote down one thing she did well the day before. Just one. Then, she planned one bold step for the day ahead. Day by day, the river of her consistent actions began to wear down the sharp edges of doubt. Within weeks, Sarah woke not with dread, but with purpose. Her mornings became her forge, shaping her into someone unstoppable. The lesson here is clear. Your mind will replay what you allow it to, but you hold the power to redirect the current. Like a river smoothing stone, your small, deliberate actions each morning can erode the old patterns of self-doubt. Break the chain, rewrite the script. You're closer to freedom than you think. Now picture yourself as a student, barely out of bed, the weight of the world already on your shoulders. It's 6:30 a.m. And your first thought isn't about the day's possibilities, it's about failure. Exams loom like storm clouds. That presentation you haven't finished feels like a guillotine. Your stomach churns as you imagine stumbling over words or blanking out entirely. Before you've even brushed your teeth, fear has dictated your day. You're not moving forward. You're frozen in a mental cage of what-ifs. This was Liam's reality. A college freshman, he had dreams of becoming an engineer. But his mornings were a spiral of anxiety. Each day began with a litany of worries. What if I fail this test? What if I'm not cut out for this? He'd lie in bed, scrolling through social media, comparing himself to others who seemed to have it all together. His potential was buried under layers of fear. But one day, a mentor told him something that struck deep. Your mind is a river. Liam, right now, it's stuck in a muddy loop. Redirect it. Liam started small. Each morning, he forced himself to stand, take 3 deep breaths, and name one thing he could control that day. Studying for an hour, asking a question in class. Slowly, the river of his actions began to smooth the rough stone of his fear. Over months, his mornings transformed from dread to determination. He wasn't fearless, but he was no longer paralyzed. He learned to flow forward. What can you take from Liam? Fear is a habit, a groove worn deep by repetition, but you can carve a new path. Each morning, choose one small act to defy that fear. Let your consistent effort be the river that reshapes your mind. Break the chain. Step into your power. Pause for a moment. Think about the invisible chains you wear each morning. They're not made of iron or steel. They're forged from thoughts, old, rusted beliefs about who you are and what you're capable of. Maybe it's the voice that says, "You've always failed, so why try?" Or the whisper of, "You're not enough, and you never will be." These patterns are grooves in your mind, worn deep by years of repetition. They feel like truth, but they're not. They're just habits, and habits can be broken. Look to the river for wisdom. It doesn't rage against the stone in a single, violent clash. No, it flows, steady, patient, unrelenting. Day after day, it wears down resistance, turning sharp edges into smooth surfaces. So it is with your mind. You can't shatter self-doubt in one grand moment, but you can erode it with consistent, small actions. Every morning is your chance to flow against those old patterns, to polish away the roughness of fear and limitation. Why do you cling to thoughts that bind you? How much longer will you let them define your dawn? Your brain is not fixed. It's a living, malleable force. Science tells us it rewires with repetition, with intention. But the river teaches us something deeper. Transformation is not a battle. It's a rhythm. You don't need to fight your old habits with fury. You need to outlast them with persistence. Let each morning be a current, smoothing away what no longer serves you. You are not your past. You are the river. Flow. There's a sacredness to morning, a quiet power that most of us squander. It's the forge where your day and your destiny is shaped. Yet how often do you wake and let old patterns hammer you into the same worn-out mold? You replay doubts, chew on regrets, or drown in worries before the world even stirs. Why do you surrender this precious hour to chains you could break? Morning is not just a time, it's a crucible. It's where you decide who you'll become. Think of your mind as a stone in that river of time. Each thought, each action is a ripple against its surface. If you wake and feed the grooves of fear or self-doubt, you deepen them. But if you choose differently, if you act with intention, you begin to smooth those edges. Picture a blacksmith at dawn, striking hot metal with purpose. That's you, every morning. If you choose to be, your consistent actions are the hammer, reshaping the raw material of your thoughts. Old patterns are not your master. They're just material waiting for your will to mold them. This is the deeper truth. Pain, doubt, and fear are not your enemies. They're the rough stone, the raw iron. They exist to be transformed. Every morning, you stand at the edge of possibility. Will you let the river of habit drag you downstream, or will you direct its flow? Will you wield the hammer, or let it fall on you? The choice is yours. Break the chains. Forge yourself anew. Let's get practical. Breaking old mental patterns isn't a vague, lofty ideal. It's a daily act of will. When you wake each morning and feel the familiar pull of doubt or fear, don't let it steer your day. Redirect the current of your thoughts with intention. Here's how to start. First, pause. Before you leap out of bed or grab your phone, sit still for 1 minute. Breathe deeply. Acknowledge the old pattern, whether it's self-criticism or anxiety, and name it. Say to yourself, "This is just a thought, not my truth." Then, replace it with one positive anchor. Write down or speak aloud one thing you're grateful for, or one strength you possess. It could be as simple as, "I'm persistent," or "I have a chance to grow today." This small act is your first ripple against the stone. Second, set a micro goal for the morning. Not a grand plan, just one actionable step. Maybe it's, "I'll outline my tasks for the day," or "I'll take 5 minutes to prepare for that meeting." Focus on this instead of the old loop of worry. Each time you do this, you're smoothing the rough edges of habit. You're teaching your brain a new rhythm. Consistency is your river. Let it flow through these small, deliberate choices. Break the chain, one morning at a time. Old patterns thrive in chaos, in the unstructured haze of your first waking moments. To dismantle them, build a morning ritual, a framework that channels your energy like a river finding its path. This isn't about complexity, it's about clarity. Here's a simple structure to start with. Begin with movement. As soon as you wake, stand up and stretch for 2 minutes. Move your body to wake your mind. This isn't exercise. It's a signal to yourself that you're taking control. Next, hydrate. Drink a glass of water. It's a small act, but it grounds you, reminding you to nourish yourself before the day's demands hit. Then, dedicate 5 minutes to reflection. Use a journal or just your thoughts. Ask yourself, what's one old thought I'm releasing today? Write it down, then counter it with a new belief. For example, replace "I'm always behind" with "I'm building my pace, step by step." Finally, visualize your flow. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself as that river, moving steadily, smoothing obstacles. See your day unfolding with purpose. This ritual isn't magic, it's a tool. It rewires your brain by replacing aimless worry with intentional action. Stick with it. Let each morning be a stroke against the stone of old habits. You've got this. Break free. You've journeyed through the heart of breaking the chains of habit, seeing how old mental patterns can bind you each morning, but also how they can be dismantled. You've walked with Sarah, the professional who turned her dawn from doubt to determination, and Liam, the student who redirected his river of fear into a current of courage. You've reflected on the silent forge of morning, the power of consistent actions to smooth the rough stones of your mind, and you've armed yourself with practical steps, pausing to redirect thoughts, building a ritual to anchor your day. The takeaway is undeniable. By choosing small, deliberate actions each morning, you can erode the habits that hold you back and rewire your brain for strength and clarity. Remember, you are the river. Your old patterns are not your prison. They're just stones waiting to be polished by your persistence. Each morning is your chance to flow with purpose, to wear down resistance, to shape yourself into something unyielding and brilliant. As we move forward, we'll build on this foundation, exploring how to plant new seeds of thought in the fertile ground of your rewired mind. Until then, hold this truth close and let it guide your dawn. Flow relentlessly. Your mind is yours to shape. Picture this. The first light of dawn creeps over the horizon, a quiet forge glowing in the stillness. You stand there, raw iron in hand, the weight of untapped potential pulling at your grip. Every morning is your anvil, every choice a hammer strike. Will you shape your mind into a blade of unyielding focus, or let it rust in the chaos of distraction? This is your moment to forge a new mental edge, to rewire your brain through a deliberate morning practice that hones your thoughts as a blacksmith sharpens steel. Within the broader journey of transforming your life through daily rituals, this section, Forging a New Mental Edge, is your call to action. It's not about grand gestures or overnight miracles. It's about the quiet, persistent work of refining yourself, one morning at a time. Feel the heat of possibility. You are the craftsman of your own destiny. Are you ready to strike? Imagine you're a parent, your morning's a storm of spilled cereal, forgotten lunchboxes, and the relentless tick of the clock. Your mind is a tangled wire, buzzing with to-do lists and unspoken worries. sleep-deprived and stretched thin. You barely recognize the person staring back in the mirror. Chaos reigns, and clarity feels like a distant shore, unreachable amidst the waves of responsibility. This was Sarah's reality, a single mother of two, juggling a demanding job and the endless needs of her children. Her thoughts spiraled each morning, a cacophony of doubt and exhaustion, leaving her reactive, frayed, and far from the calm she craved. But one day, Sarah decided to reclaim her dawn. She carved out 5 minutes, just five, before the chaos erupted. With a tattered notebook and a pen, she sat at her kitchen table while the world still slept. She wrote, not poetry or profound revelations, but raw, unfiltered thoughts. I'm tired. I'm scared I'm failing, but I'm here. Day by day, those 5 minutes became her forge. She poured out her fears, her hopes, her quiet victories. Slowly, the tangled wire of her mind began to straighten. She noticed patterns in her stress, triggers she could anticipate and disarm. Her mornings, once a battlefield, became a space of control. She wasn't just surviving. She was shaping her mental edge, stroke by stroke, like a blacksmith smoothing out imperfections in molten steel. Sarah's story isn't unique. It's yours if you choose it. The lesson burns bright. A simple morning practice, like journaling, isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about sharpening your focus, cutting through the noise, and reclaiming your power. When chaos looms, those 5 minutes are your hammer. They remind you who you are before the world demands who you should be. And in that act, you rewire your brain, turning scattered thoughts into deliberate strength. What will you write in your first 5 minutes? How will you begin to forge your edge? Now, I shift your gaze to Marcus, a young athlete with dreams of breaking records but a mind plagued by doubt. Each morning, he woke to a chorus of what ifs. What if he wasn't fast enough, strong enough, good enough? His body was ready, trained through grueling hours, but his thoughts were a dull blade, cutting against his own progress. Before every practice, anxiety gripped him, a shadow dimming the fire of his ambition. He stood at the starting line of his own potential, but fear kept him from sprinting forward. Then, Marcus discovered a ritual as powerful as any physical drill. At sunrise, before lacing up his sneakers, he sat on the edge of his bed, eyes closed, and visualized his goals. He saw himself crossing the finish line, sweat dripping, crowd roaring. He felt a surge of triumph, the weight of every step earned. 5 minutes of vivid imagination, every morning, became his sharpening stone. He wasn't just dreaming, he was programming his mind for resilience. Doubt began to crumble as he built a mental blueprint of success. On the track, when his legs screamed and his lungs burned, that sunrise vision anchored him. He didn't just run, he charged, a blade cutting through resistance. Marcus forged his mental edge at dawn, and so can you. His story mirrors the blacksmith's craft. Morning rituals refine your mind, turning raw fear into polished determination. Whether you're chasing a literal finish line or a personal summit, visualization can be your tool. It's not fantasy, it's preparation. You see the win before you claim it, and in that act, you rewire your brain to believe it's possible. What do you see when you close your eyes at sunrise? What victory will you build in your mind's forge? Step back for a moment and consider the raw power of your mornings. They are your anvil, the unyielding surface where your mind is shaped. Before the world rushes in with its demands and distractions, dawn offers you a sacred space, a forge where thought becomes steel. Why do so many of us squander this hour, scrolling through noise or stumbling through routine without intent? The truth is stark. If you don't shape your mind in the morning, the day will shape it for you. Every unchecked thought, every fleeting doubt is a dent in your blade, dulling your edge before you even begin. Think of your brain as molten iron, pliable in those first quiet moments. A deliberate practice, and whether journaling, visualizing, or simply breathing with purpose, acts as the hammer, striking with intention. Each strike removes a flaw. Each repetition hones your focus. You're not just waking up, you're crafting resilience. Pain, doubt, and chaos aren't your enemies in this forge. They're the heat that makes transformation possible. Without resistance, there is no strength. So, ask yourself, what flaws are you willing to burn away each morning? How will you strike to create something unbreakable? This isn't about perfection. A blacksmith doesn't craft a flawless blade in one day. It's a process of relentless refinement. So too is your morning ritual. It's not a chore, but a rebellion against mediocrity. You don't drift. You don't surrender. You stand at the anvil of dawn and decide who you'll be. In this act, you rewire your brain, forging pathways of clarity and courage where once there was only rust. The morning is yours. Will you claim it? Let's dive deeper. Imagine your mind as a riverbed, carved over time by the flow of your thoughts. Every morning, you choose the current. Will it be a torrent of worry, eroding your resolve, or a steady stream of intention, shaping a path of purpose? Repetition is the water that cuts deepest, and a morning practice, however small, is the force that directs it. You don't rewire your brain with a single act. You do it through the quiet persistence of showing up, day after day, hammer in hand, ready to strike. Why do we resist this simplicity? Perhaps because the river of repetition feels slow, unglamorous, even mundane. But look closer. A blacksmith doesn't tire of the same motion. Lift, strike, lift, strike. Because each blow builds toward mastery, so too must you embrace the rhythm of your morning ritual. Journaling for 5 minutes isn't a grand feat, nor is visualizing a goal before the sun peaks. But over weeks, months, years, these acts carve new channels in your mind. Doubt erodes, focus hardens, you become a force, not a fragment. Consider this. How many mornings have you lost to haste, letting the river of your thoughts run wild? And how might your life shift if you guided that flow with intention? The beauty of repetition is its inevitability. What you repeat, you become. So stand at the river's edge each dawn, choose your current, forge your mental edge with every consistent strike. In this, you don't just rewire your brain, you rebuild your very foundation. Are you ready to shape the flow? Now let's ground this in action. You don't need hours or elaborate setups to forge your mental edge. Begin with the first strike, 5 minutes of journaling. Grab a notebook, a scrap of paper, anything. Set a timer. Sit where the world can't yet reach you, before the day's demands pull you under. Write what's in your head. No filter, no judgment. It might be a list of worries, a fleeting gratitude, or a single goal. The point isn't eloquence, it's release. You're clearing the slag from your mind, making space for clarity. When doubt creeps in, and it will, pause. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can control today? Write it down. This isn't about solving everything. It's about sharpening your focus, one thought at a time. If 5 minutes feels too long, start with 2. The key is consistency, not duration. Show up tomorrow, and the next day, watch how this small act begins to rewire your brain, turning chaos into a blade of intention. You're not just writing, you're striking. Make that first mark. What will you clear from your mind today? Here's another tool for your forge. Visualization. Each morning, before the world demands your energy, take 5 minutes to see your future. Sit or stand somewhere quiet. Close your eyes. Picture a goal, big or small, as if it's already yours. See the details, the colors, the sounds, the feeling in your chest. If you're chasing a promotion, imagine the handshake, the weight of responsibility turning into pride. If it's personal growth, see yourself calm in a storm, unshaken. Feel it as real. When your mind wanders, gently pull it back. This isn't daydreaming, it's training. You're forging neural pathways, teaching your brain to expect success rather than dread failure. If 5 minutes is daunting, start with one vivid image, build from there. Do this daily, and you'll notice a shift. Doubt weakens, resolve strengthens. You're not just imagining, you're preparing. Your mental edge sharpens with every vision. What will you see tomorrow at dawn? How will you build your triumph before it arrives? As the embers of this section cool, let's gather the insights you've forged. You've seen how a busy parent like Sarah turned chaos into clarity with 5 minutes of journaling, and how an athlete like Marcus built unshakable resilience through sunrise visualization. You've reflected on the anvil of morning and the river of repetition, understanding that a deliberate practice, however small, rewires your brain, stroke by stroke. The takeaway burns like a beacon. Consistency in your morning ritual is the hammer that shapes your mental edge, transforming raw thought into unbreakable strength. You don't need perfection, you need persistence. Every dawn is a chance to strike, to refine, to become. As we move forward, know that this is only the beginning of your craft. The next section will build on this foundation, exploring how to temper your edge against the fires of daily challenge. But for now, stand tall at your forge, claim your mornings, shape your mind. Let this truth echo as your guide. Strike at dawn. Your edge is yours to forge. Picture yourself standing on the deck of a ship, lost in a dense, unforgiving fog. The world around you is a blur, uncertain, chaotic, threatening to pull you off course. But then, a beam of light cuts through the haze, steady and unyielding. It's your lighthouse, a beacon of clarity that anchors you, guiding your every move. This, my friend, is the power of your morning. When you rewire your brain each dawn with intention, you build that lighthouse within. You create a foundation so strong that no storm of the day can shake you. In this journey of transforming your mind, we're diving into how that morning clarity becomes your compass for navigating life's uncertainties. You've already learned to forge new pathways in your mind. Now, let's see how that inner light steers you through the challenges of the day with unshakable focus. Feel that strength rising in you. Are you ready to chart your course with clarity? Imagine you're a manager, sitting at the head of a conference table, the weight of a critical decision pressing down on your shoulders. Your team looks to you for answers, but the stakes are high. A wrong move could cost jobs, trust, and months of progress. The room buzzes with tension, voices clash, deadlines loom, and doubt creeps into your mind like a shadow. Normally, this would unravel you. Your heart would race. Your thoughts would scatter like leaves in a gale. But today, you're different. You're steady. Why? Because this morning, you took control. You rose before the chaos, sat in stillness, and rewired your mind with purpose. You visualized this very moment, breathing through the pressure, grounding yourself in your values. You spoke affirmations into existence. I lead with clarity. I decide with strength. And now, as the storm rages around you, you stand as a lighthouse, piercing through the fog of uncertainty. You pause. You breathe. You listen, not just to the noise, but to the quiet voice within that you nurtured at dawn. And then, with a calm that surprises even yourself, you speak. Your words cut through the chaos, aligning your team, pointing the way forward. The decision isn't perfect, but it's grounded, intentional, and yours. Hours later, as the dust settles, a colleague pulls you aside. How did you stay so composed? They ask. You smile, knowing the answer lies in those quiet morning moments when you built your inner beacon. The lesson is clear. Your morning rewiring isn't just a ritual. It's the foundation that holds you steady when the day's tempests strike. It's your lighthouse, guiding you through the fog of high-pressure choices, ensuring you never lose sight of your true north. Now picture yourself as a creative, a writer, an artist, a dreamer, staring at a blank canvas or an empty page. You've been here for hours, maybe days, wrestling with a block that feels like a stone wall. Ideas slip through your fingers like water. Frustration burns in your chest. You've tried everything, pacing, caffeine, forcing inspiration. But the harder you push, the thicker the fog grows around your mind. You're lost, adrift in self-doubt, wondering if you've lost your spark forever. But today, something shifts. This morning, you didn't dive straight into the battle. Instead, you started with intention. You sat in silence, letting the world fade as you rewired your thoughts. You journaled your fears, releasing them like balloons into the sky. You meditated on your purpose, picturing yourself as a lighthouse, cutting through the haze of uncertainty with a single, focused beam of creativity. When you return to your work, you're not the same person. The fog of doubt still lingers, but you see a path now, a faint light guiding your hand. You pick up your pen, your brush, and let intuition lead. The first strokes are clumsy, but you don't stop. You trust the clarity you built at dawn. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, an idea emerges, a spark. then a flame. By the end of the day, you've created something raw, real, and yours. You step back, marveling not just at the work, but at the calm within you. That morning ritual, that deliberate rewiring, was your lighthouse. It didn't erase the struggle, but it gave you the clarity to navigate through it. The truth shines bright. When you start your day by anchoring your mind, you can pierce through any creative fog and find your way to brilliance. Let's step back for a moment and consider the nature of your day. Life, in all its beauty and brutality, is a vast ocean of uncertainty. One moment, the waters are calm. The next, a storm surges, threatening to capsize your plans, your dreams, your peace. How often have you felt adrift, unable to see the shore, unsure of where to steer? Too many times, perhaps, but here's a truth as old as the tides. You are not powerless in this chaos. Within you lies a lighthouse, a beacon of clarity that no storm can extinguish. And the key to igniting that light? Your morning. Those first sacred moments of the day are when you rewire your brain, when you build the foundation that will guide you through whatever lies ahead. Think of your mind as the fog-laden sea. Without intention, it swirls with doubt, distraction, and fear. But when you dedicate your morning to clarity through meditation, affirmation, or simply sitting with your thoughts, you cut through that haze. You forge a beam of focus, steady and piercing, that lights your path. This isn't about avoiding life's storms. It's about navigating them with purpose. So ask yourself, how often do you rush into the day without building your lighthouse? How many times have you crashed against unseen rocks because you didn't take the time to anchor your mind? The power is yours right now to start each dawn with intention. Rewire your brain and watch how the fog of uncertainty parts before you, revealing the way forward. There's a deeper layer to this, a truth that hums beneath the surface of your daily grind. Your morning rewiring doesn't just shape your mind, it shapes your entire day, like a single pebble dropped into a still pond, sending ripples outward in every direction. Consider this: every decision, every interaction, every moment of struggle or triumph is colored by how you began. Start in chaos, and you carry that turbulence with you, stumbling through the fog, reactive and unsteady. But start with clarity, and you move through the day as a lighthouse, unwavering, illuminating even the darkest corners of uncertainty. You don't just react to life, you guide it. Picture your morning as the first brushstroke on a vast canvas. That initial mark sets the tone, the direction, the energy of everything that follows. When you rewire your brain at dawn, you're not just calming your thoughts, you're forging a lens of focus, resilience, and purpose. That lens filters every challenge, every doubt, every opportunity. Have you ever noticed how a single moment of stillness can shift your entire perspective? How a few minutes of intention can turn a day of chaos into one of quiet strength? This is the ripple effect of morning clarity. It's not magic, it's a deliberate act of transformation. You have the power to create waves of calm, of courage, that carry you through the stormiest seas. So why not seize it? Why not build your lighthouse each morning and let its light ripple through every hour? Now let's get to the heart of action. Building your lighthouse of clarity isn't a vague concept. It's a tangible, daily practice you can start tomorrow. When you wake, resist the urge to dive into the noise of the world. Instead, carve out 10 minutes, just 10, to rewire your brain for the day ahead. Sit somewhere quiet, away from screens, away from demands. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, letting each inhale ground you, each exhale release the clutter of yesterday. Visualize your day as a sea of possibilities, and see yourself as that lighthouse, steady and bright, cutting through any fog that might arise. Speak an affirmation aloud. I navigate with clarity. I stand firm in uncertainty. Let these words sink into your core. Then take a small notebook or even a scrap of paper. Write down one intention for the day, something simple yet powerful, like I will listen before I speak, or I will trust my instincts in every decision. Keep this note with you. Glance at it when the day's chaos threatens to pull you under. This isn't about perfection, it's about anchoring yourself. If 10 minutes feels too long, start with 5. If silence feels daunting, play soft music to ease you in. The point is to begin. Build this habit, and you'll find that your morning clarity becomes a shield, a guide, a light that no storm can dim. You've got this. Start small, but start now. Clarity isn't just built in the morning, it's tested throughout the day. When the fog of stress, doubt, or distraction rolls in, you need tools to keep your lighthouse burning bright. Here's a simple, powerful step. Pause. When you feel overwhelmed, whether it's a looming deadline, a heated argument, or a creative block, stop for 30 seconds, step away if you can, or simply close your eyes right where you are. Take 3 slow, deliberate breaths and reconnect with the intention you set at dawn. Remind yourself, I am the lighthouse. I see through this haze. This tiny reset can shift your entire perspective, pulling you back to clarity when the world feels like it's spinning out of control. Another tool, carry a grounding object, a small stone, a coin, a bracelet, that reminds you of your morning ritual. When uncertainty strikes, touch it, feel its weight, and let it anchor you to that moment of stillness you created at the start of the day. These practices don't erase challenges, but they empower you to navigate them with focus. You're not a victim of the day's storms. You're the captain of your ship, guided by the light you built. So, when the fog thickens, don't panic. Pause, breathe, reconnect. Your clarity is always within reach. Claim it. As we draw this exploration to a close, let's reflect on the power you've uncovered. Navigating the day with clarity isn't a luxury, it's a necessity, a skill you hone each morning when you rewire your brain with intention. You've seen it in the manager who stood firm under pressure, in the creative who pierced through the fog of doubt to find inspiration. You've felt it in the philosophical truths that remind us of the lighthouse within, and you've armed yourself with practical steps to build and sustain that light. The key lesson shines brighter than ever. Morning clarity is your foundation for daily success, guiding you through life's uncertainties with unyielding focus. You are not at the mercy of the day's chaos. You are the beacon that cuts through it. As you move forward, carry this truth with you and let it fuel your journey into the next chapter of transformation. Build your lighthouse each morning, and no fog, no storm, no uncertainty can dim your path. Let this be your guiding mantra, a call to action etched into your soul. Stand as the lighthouse. Let your clarity light the way. Picture yourself standing at the base of a towering mountain, the dawn just breaking over its jagged peak. The air is crisp, your breath visible, and the trail ahead seems endless, winding into the clouds. This is no ordinary climb. It's the journey of your life, and every morning, you take the first step. Each dawn, you choose to ascend, to rewire your mind, to carve a new path through the stone of old habits. You've been told transformation is a sprint, a fleeting burst of willpower. But here's the truth. Lasting change is a mountain trail ascent, where steady morning steps build the strength to summit. In this moment, as you reflect on the long-term impact of your morning rewiring, you're not just climbing, you're becoming. How far have you already come? And what heights await if you keep moving forward? Let's journey together through the power of your daily reset and see how it shapes not just your days, but your destiny. Imagine yourself a year ago, a person scattered by the chaos of life. Your mornings were a blur, phone in hand before your eyes fully open, notifications dictating your mood, endless distractions pulling you in every direction. You had dreams, big ones, but they felt like distant stars, unreachable amidst the fog of indecision. You wanted to write a book, start a business, or simply feel alive with purpose. But every day slipped through your fingers like sand. Then, something shifted. You decided to reclaim your mornings. No more mindless scrolling. Instead, you sat in silence for 5 minutes, pen in hand, writing one goal for the day. You breathed deeply, visualizing the person you wanted to become. It felt small, almost insignificant, like the first step on a mountain trail shrouded in mist. Fast forward a year, you stand in awe of yourself. That book, it's half written, chapters piling up because every morning you carved out time to create. That business, it's launched, born from the clarity of your daily reflections. You're no longer the distracted dreamer. You're a builder, a force. Looking back, you see the trail you've climbed. Each morning, step a stone laid in the foundation of your achievements. The conflict wasn't just distraction, it was the battle to believe small actions could yield massive change. But they did. Like a hiker ascending a relentless slope, you learned that steady morning steps, those quiet, disciplined resets, built the strength to summit. The lesson is clear. Your mornings are the forge of your future. Keep hammering, and the shape of your life will astonish you. Now picture another version of you, someone who felt utterly lost. Life had thrown storms your way, job loss, broken relationships, or just a gnawing sense of, is this all there is? Your mornings mirrored your inner turmoil, hitting snooze 5 times, dragging yourself out of bed with no direction, feeling like a ship adrift in a vast, empty sea. Purpose seemed like a foreign land, and you didn't even know where to start looking. But one day, you stumbled upon a simple idea. Reset your mind every morning. You began with a ritual, 10 minutes of gratitude, listing 3 things that still mattered, followed by a single, intentional action to move forward. Maybe it was a walk to clear your head or a journal entry to untangle your thoughts. It felt like dropping an anchor in choppy waters, small but steadying. A year later, you're no longer lost. You feel in control, grounded in a way you never thought possible. That gratitude practice turned despair into perspective. Those intentional actions snowballed into new opportunities, a job you love, connections that lift you, a quiet confidence that wasn't there before. Reflecting on this long-term impact, you see your morning reset as the compass that pointed you back to shore. The conflict was your aimlessness, the storm of uncertainty, but each morning became a step up the mountain trail, building resilience to reach a summit of purpose. The takeaway shines like a beacon. Your daily reset isn't just a habit, it's the anchor that holds you steady until you find your way. Keep climbing, and you'll never lose sight of your horizon again. Pause for a moment and consider the nature of transformation. It's not a lightning strike, a sudden epiphany that remakes you overnight. No, it's a mountain trail ascent, a slow, deliberate climb where every morning step carves strength into your soul. Reflecting on the long-term impact of your morning rewiring, you see it now. Each dawn is a chance to chip away at the old version of you, to sculpt a self that endures. Think of the mountain's face, rugged, unyielding, shaped by centuries of wind and rain. So too is your mind shaped by the steady erosion of doubt and the persistent layering of discipline. How many times have you wanted to turn back, to abandon the climb for the comfort of the valley below? Yet, every morning you chose to ascend, even when the peak was hidden in clouds, even when your legs trembled with fatigue. This is the power of rewiring your brain through daily practice. It's not about the summit alone, it's about who you become on the journey. Each morning reset, whether it's meditation, journaling, or a moment of fierce intention, builds a muscle of focus, a shield of resilience, like a river cutting through stone over eons. Your small, consistent efforts create canyons of change in your life. So ask yourself, what peak are you climbing toward? And are you willing to take one more step, knowing it's shaping you into something unbreakable? Let's dig deeper into this long-term impact. You are the silent architect of your own transformation, and your mornings are the blueprint. Every day, as the world still slumbers, you lay another brick in the cathedral of your future. It's not glamorous work. There are no cheering crowds for your 5-minute breathing exercise or your scribbled affirmations. But over months, over years, those quiet mornings stack into towering achievements. Reflect on this. The mountain trail of your rewiring isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about crafting a version of you that can withstand any storm. Like a blacksmith tempering steel in the early light, your daily reset hardens your resolve, sharpens your clarity, and prepares you for battles unseen. Why do so many falter on this path? Because they seek the summit without embracing the climb? They crave instant results, ignoring the truth that transformation is forged in the unseen hours, in the solitude of dawn. But you've learned to trust the process. You've seen how a single morning of focus can shift your entire day, how a year of such mornings can shift your entire life. So ponder this. How much stronger could you be if you never skipped a step? The trail is yours to conquer, and every sunrise is your hammer. Strike with purpose. Now, let's ground this in action. If you want to see the long-term impact of morning rewiring, start with a simple, unshakable anchor. When you wake, resist the urge to dive into the chaos of the day. Instead, carve out 5 minutes, yes, just 5, to reset your mind. Sit somewhere quiet, close your eyes, and breathe deeply for 10 slow breaths. With each inhale, imagine drawing in strength. With each exhale, release yesterday's weight. Then, write down one intention for the day. Not a to-do list, but a purpose. Today, I will face one fear. Or, today, I will create with focus. This isn't magic. It's a signal to your brain that you're in control. Make this non-negotiable. Even on days when you feel rushed or uninspired, commit to this anchor. Why? Because over time, these 5 minutes compound. They become the steady steps on your mountain trail, building the strength to summit challenges you once thought impossible. If doubt creeps in, pause, ask yourself, am I willing to skip the step that could change everything? Protect this ritual and watch how it transforms not just your mornings, but the trajectory of your life. Here's another tool to cement the long-term impact of your morning rewiring. Reflect with intention. Once a week, during your morning reset, take 10 minutes to look back. Grab a notebook and answer 3 questions. What did I achieve this week because of my morning focus? Where did I stumble, and why? What's one step I can take tomorrow to climb higher? Be honest. If you skipped your reset and felt scattered, write that down. If you stuck to it and felt unstoppable, celebrate that. This isn't about judgment. It's about seeing the trail you're carving up the mountain of your growth. This reflection builds awareness, the kind that rewires your brain to prioritize what matters. It's like checking your map mid-climb. You adjust your path, tighten your boots, and keep ascending. Over months, these weekly check-ins reveal patterns. You'll see how consistent mornings fuel your wins and how skipping them dims your fire. So, start this week. Reflect, adjust, and rise. Your summit isn't a dream. It's a destination, and every morning step gets you closer. As we stand together on this ledge of reflection, looking back at the long-term impact of your morning rewiring, the truth is undeniable. Every sunrise you've claimed has built you into a force of transformation. You've seen it in the distracted dreamer who became a creator, in the lost soul who found an anchor, and in the quiet, steady steps of your own journey up this mountain trail. The key lesson shines brighter than the dawn. Lasting change isn't born in grand gestures, but in the deliberate resets you commit to each morning. These are the steps that build the strength to summit, to conquer not just challenges, but the old version of yourself. Your mornings are your power. They're the forge where you temper your will, the compass that keeps you on course. As we prepare to explore deeper layers of this rewiring in the next stretch of our climb, hold this truth close. No step is too small. No morning too ordinary to shape your destiny. Keep ascending, keep resetting, and watch how the peaks of your potential come into view. Keep climbing. Your summit is closer with every dawn.